My alcoholic wife wanted full custody of our daughter and started making up lies about me to get it, so I exposed her for who she really was. I was awoken on my daughter's 5th birthday by her jumping on me and hugging me. Daddy, daddy, wake up, she repeated. She'd always wanted me to join her for a princess tea party, so for one of her presents I bought an adult-sized princess outfit. What is this, daddy, she asked. Well, to go to a princess tea party I need to be a princess, right? Her eyes lit up and she basically squeezed me in that dress herself with how excited she was. We made iced tea and she kept giggling saying this was the best birthday ever. I had so much celebrating her birthday with her. But at the end of the day, as I put her to bed, she hugged me tight. Please don't leave, daddy. I told her stories until she dozed off. But later that night, when I broke down crying, the truth was, my alcoholic wife and I were divorcing. She wanted full custody of our daughter and I knew she'd stop at nothing to get it. You see, my wife Rachel's brother was the lawyer who represented her in the custody battle. The guys never lost a case. Like ever, Matt took on this case for a woman that was a total mess. She had a history of alcohol abuse, no job, and lived in a crappy part of town. She had 3 kids and their dad was trying to get full custody. The guy was your perfect dad on paper. He had a great 9-to-5 job, made good money, and lived in a nice apartment. The only thing was that he didn't have enough room in his apartment for all 3 of the kids. Everyone thought the dad was a shoo-in for custody. But then Matt stepped in. He started tearing the dad's case apart piece by piece. He brought in character witnesses to talk about how the mom was turning her life around and how much she loved her kids. He made her look like a hero who was battling her demons for the sake of her children. But the craziest part, Matt somehow turned her addiction into a positive. He argued that her previous struggles made her more empathetic and determined to protect her kids from going down the same path. He convinced the court that the mom's tough life made her a stronger and more loving parent. Despite all odds, Matt won the case. The mom got custody of the kids. Knowing all this, I was terrified. If Matt could win a case like that, what chance did I have? But I knew I had to fight for my daughter Lily, no matter how good Matt was. During the court proceedings, Rachel lied through her teeth. She said I was drunk all the time and couldn't take care of Lily. Meanwhile, Rachel was the one with the drinking problem. She spun this whole story about me being this irresponsible, stumbling drunk. Then she accused me of mistreating her throughout our marriage. She told the court that I was verbally abusive and that I made her life miserable. None of it was true, but she had this sob story all lined up, complete with fake tears and everything. She painted herself as the victim. Rachel even went so far as to say that I neglected Lily. She made it sound like I was some negligent, careless father who couldn't be bothered to take care of his own kid. The worst part was Matt backing her up. He twisted every piece of evidence and every bit of testimony to make me look bad. He brought in so-called witnesses who claimed they saw me drunk or heard me. But her testimony was needed. We were sitting in the courtroom and Lily was called to the stand. After the judge asked her a few questions, it was time for her to speak. Lily said, I love my daddy so much. He's the best daddy in the whole world. He makes me good food every day. He reads bedtime stories every night. I want to stay with daddy. When the judge asked about her mother, she said, Mommy loves me too, but she doesn't like to play dolls with me. She sleeps a lot and I can't wake her up. And sometimes she gets mad and yells, but daddy never yells. Lily's innocence and honesty were heartbreaking. She didn't understand all the legal stuff, but she knew what it felt like to be cared for and loved. Her testimony was simple but incredibly powerful. As Lily left the stand and came back to sit with me, I hugged her tightly and told her how proud I was of her. Her words had cut through all the lies. This was something that Matt couldn't fake. It was a turning point in the case and it gave me hope. The judge took everything into consideration, including Rachel's behavior in court and Lily's testimony. Meanwhile, Rachel's desperation led her to more extreme measures. She faked injuries and claimed I was the one who injured her. But her lies started to unravel when inconsistencies in her stories were exposed. My lawyer played the recordings I had made of my phone calls with Rachel. In these recordings, Rachel's true nature came out. You could hear her slurring her words, yelling irrationally, and making threats. The real kicker was when my lawyer showed the photos and videos of Rachel showing up drunk to supervised visits. There she was in front of the whole court, stumbling and incoherent. She played the video in its entirety. I looked at Rachel while she watched herself cause a scene. She sunk down and tried to make herself appear smaller. Rachel's face went pale as the evidence was laid out. She tried to interrupt and explain away the recordings and the photos, but it was clear to everyone in the courtroom that her facade was cracking. The final blow came when my lawyer called one of Rachel's own friends to the stand. This friend reluctantly admitted that Rachel had a serious drinking problem and had often confided in her about how she felt bad at times for manipulating the court case. She even mentioned how Rachel had laughed about turning my own parents against me. The courtroom was silent as the weight of this testimony sank in. Rachel's lawyer, her brother Matt, looked visibly flustered for the first time. He tried to regain control, but the damage was done. The judge looked at Rachel with disapproval. Rachel started to lash out. She made desperate attempts to deny the evidence, but her stories were too inconsistent. She kept getting caught up in lies. She claimed the recordings were fake and that the photos were staged, but her points were weak. And desperate, the judge took a moment and said that the evidence presented had shown a pattern of instability and dishonesty that could not be ignored. It was like music to my ears. Rachel's lies were unraveling right before her eyes, and there was nothing she could do to stop it. For the first time, I felt a bit of hope that Lily could stay with me. My lawyer also shared moments from my life with Lily, including photos of our camping trips, her school achievements, and our quiet evenings reading together. The judge began to see through Rachel's lies and manipulation. This final court session felt tense. Rachel's brother tried again to paint me as an unfit father, father, but the evidence against Rachel was too strong to ignore. The judge called for a recess and took time to review all the evidence and testimonies. As I sat in the hallway, the only thing that calmed my nerves was looking at a picture Lily had drawn of the two of us. I felt a small hand slip into mine. I looked down to see Lily. She told me that everything was going to be okay. I told her that all the time, and now she was trying to comfort me the same way. The judge returned and everyone filed back into the courtroom. He acknowledged the difficulty of the situation and the emotional toll it had taken on everyone involved. Then he turned to Rachel and me. He then said that after careful consideration, it was clear that I had the best interests of Lily and said she had been awarded to me. The courtroom erupted in chaos as Rachel began to scream and shout. The judge's gavel banged loudly. I felt an overwhelming sense of relief and joy. I knelt down and hugged Lily tightly. I began crying and Lily wiped my tears. She looked up at me and asked if she would see mommy again. I told her that she could see her whenever she wanted as long as I was there. We drove home in silence. Once we arrived, I started making dinner while Lily played with her dolls. At dinner, she asked me with those big innocent eyes if we were going to be okay. I told her that we would be more than okay. I said we were going to be happy. She smiled and we enjoyed the rest of our dinner. We had each other and that was all we needed. The weeks that followed were quite the adjustment. I took a leave of absence from work to spend more time with Lily and to help her settle into our new routine. We went on long walks, visited the park, and spent hours reading stories and playing games. One evening, as Lily and I were cuddled up on the couch watching a movie, she looked up at me with a serious expression. She asked me why her mommy didn't want to be with us and I struggled to find the right words. I explained that her mother was going through tough times and that she loved Lily very much but couldn't take care of her the way she needed right now. Lily nodded. She told me how glad she was to have me as her dad and snuggled closer to me. I knew there would still be hard days ahead, but I also knew we would face them together. Every year on Lily's birthday, we kept up our special tradition, a princess tea party. It was our thing. Fast forward a few years after the custody battle, and one day Lily comes home from school with the biggest smile on her face. She'd won an award for being the best reader in her class. I was so proud of her. She ran to her room and came back with this shiny certificate. She was so excited to put it up on the wall. I grabbed a frame and we hung it together. Looking at that certificate, I couldn't help but think about our journey. Life had settled into this happy routine. I was back at work, juggling my job and being a full-time dad. It wasn't always easy, but every challenge was worth it just to see Lily happy. She was thriving in school, making friends, and growing more confident every day. It was all the proof I needed that we were doing all right.